Hi everybody, I'm going to do a series of videos on how to design your own sole for your doll shoes. Excuse me. A lot of you probably aren't going to be interested in these videos, so if you don't like working with clay such as Sculpey or Fimo, or you don't like to work with resin or that amazing mold putty, then this probably isn't something you're going to want to watch. But anyway, I've already done one, and I put it in the oven and I've baked it already. I'm using Sculpey. I'm using half of a cube, so this shoe right here, this sole right here, has taken me half a cube to make. So now I'm got the other half a cube, and I'm conditioning it to use it for the other half. So you're going to need 1 cube of Sculpey or Fimo. You're going to need some kind of a rolling device. I didn't get out my pasta machine. I decided not to ruin it by putting clay through it. You know, when you're married to an Italian, the last thing you want is to ruin the pasta machine. So I'm conditioning all the clay by hand. If you're going to buy clay, you might as well get it when they have the half price sale, because they're a couple dollars each. I forget exactly what the price is, but it's up there for a little container of clay. You can get any color. I'm just using the gold because I wanted a neutral color, and all the white was gone, all the beige was gone, so I just grabbed gold. It was the next thing they had. I had some old clay that I could have used, but it dried out in the move. Okay, so here we're working with the conditioned clay. You're going to have to need some tools too. This is a clay kit, but basically you don't need any of these. I'm using one of these, but I'm not using it for the tool. I'm using it for the texturization of the tool itself. I'm using this to texturize the outside of the tennis shoes. So, but you can use anything for that. You don't have to have that. You do have to have something you can cut with. I'm using the cutting tool. It's got blades on 4 sides. There's a blade here, blade and blade. So it's a four-point cutting tool. 4-sided blade cutting tool. It's very handy to get around the clay when you're cutting. So you do need some kind of cutting tool. As far as measuring my depths for how much clay and how I'm rolling them, I'm using the jumbo craft sticks that I bought at Walmart for a couple dollars. What I did is I just took some tape and taped them together. So this is 4 sticks, so if I roll between these 4 sticks, I'll have a width of 4 sticks. But you know, you don't have to worry about how I'll tell you when I get to the sole how thick it is, but it's only a matter of preference. I wanted this is two thicknesses wide for the lip of the tennis shoe. I wanted enough so that when I put my shoe in, it's not too high, but it's high enough so it'll cover all of my glue points when I put my tennis shoe in there, like I did on the this one. So remember, when I made that mold for this one, I want it high enough so that this is even higher than the other one, but I want it high enough so that when I set my shoe piece down inside there, it will cover all my connection points. So that's why I decided to go that high, but I'll show that to you when I get to that. Okay, so you needed something you can roll between like this. You need like a dowel or something where you can roll. If you have all the clay, fancy doodads, you don't probably need any of this. But I'm brand new to clay. I've used very little of it. So this is all like a learning experience for me too. And then once you've got your flat, you have to pick a design. It could be anything. This is the bottom of a, see the poinsettias in here? It's a Christmas gravy boat tray. You put the gravy boat on top. But let's just say I wanted to make some Christmas design. So what I can do is, because this is etched glass, I can press my clay down in there and remove it. And I've got a poinsettia design. Let me see if How would you see that? Okay. So here's a poinsettia design. So then I would take my shoe pattern, whatever pattern you're going to be using, and then cut that out with the knife. Let me see how you're seeing this. Okay, so I would just take my knife and cut this out. I'm doing a sloppy job because I'm not using this, but it's just an example to show you the things you can do. And then now you've got your clay sole. Of course, I take my tools and smooth out these edges, and then I could use that for a Christmas sandal. But see how 4 is so thick? You wouldn't want that on your you wouldn't want that thickness for your shoes. It's just too thick. So we're going to go down to 3 on our sole thickness. Okay, so that's an example. Here is a piece of I know this is just fake leather. It's not real leather. It's one of those pieces I got at the one of the fabric stores. So let me show you how you would do that. You could put your 4 on here, put your leather on top, and then go down to your 3s. Here's 1 3. Where's my 3? Just means I got 3 layers of cardboard here. Okay, I've got a 4, a 4. Here's my other 3. So now I'm going to roll this between my 2 3s so I can get an even design on that clay. I'm just showing you some of the options you can do to get a design. So now when I cut my sole out, I would have that. Can you see that? That would be my design on that pair of shoes. But there's just so many things you can do for texture. You can just even roll a netting between your tennis shoes and get that. So you don't have to fuss and fight over things to try and figure out how to make a sole. You can make it out of anything. You don't have to design it yourself. You can take your foam board. I bought a new Dremel 3000, which has a grinding tool. So I ground a pattern inside this tennis shoe sole to see if that would work too. It worked fine, but the problem was that I'm not going to do it right. I wouldn't do it this way. I'd do it completely flat if I was doing it. I got a nice pattern for that sole, but it left so much residue in the clay that yeah, well, this doesn't look good, but you get the idea. I left so much residue of the foam in that it didn't work out, so I didn't use that. But if I would have done a nicer job, like with a carving tool instead of a grinding tool, I wouldn't have had that residue on here, and I could have carved any design I wanted into this foam, and I would still get the texture I was looking for on the clay, because it does look like tread. I don't know if you can see that or not. You see the tread on there? Okay, so that was that. So anything you have around the house, so I don't even fuss. Look at this stuff. This is the stuff you line your shelves with. A lot of people have been using this for their tennis shoes. You can use this too, also as a texturizing. Just do it for the shape of your shoes. Well, let me do a better job of this. My clay's getting hot, it's starting to separate. But anyway, there you go. See that? You could even use something like that for the texture of your shoes. So you don't even have to fuss. You just get whatever you have around the house. What I'm using is, I took this out of my husband's garage. He, well, it's our garage, but out of the workshop. My husband, our old house, we dropped one of these things, dropped out of the lightning covers, and broke. So he kept some of the pieces, so I grabbed a piece of it. And that's what I'm using for my texture on the bottom of my tennis shoe. Okay, but I'm going to show you how to do it correctly, the right way. Okay, so like I said, a half a cube of Sculpey or Fimo or whatever you got. Make sure there's no clay on your roller. So if you have to wipe it off. I'm just be swiping it off if it gets too much. I'm using a single-sided razor blade to lift it off from the glass. I'm lucky because I got this glass table, but if you don't have a glass table, get a cheap tile or something that's non-stick that you can work with. I know they have those clay mats that you can buy, but if you don't have to, take out a thick piece of glass of something like I don't know, something that you can use so you don't have to spend a lot of money on your you know, doing these, because you can do them relatively cheap. Okay, so this is my 4. Okay, I rolled out my 4 craft sticks length, but I did 3 on here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to my 3s. I use the 4 basically to shape it into the way of the look of the shoe, just so I can make sure I've got it okay. Okay, so there's that. So now I'm going to texturize it. So I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to still use the same 3s. Since there really isn't any design, it's the same everywhere. It doesn't really matter if I don't get it exactly right. So this was my right foot. Now this will be my left foot. So I'm going to put my 3s down, and I'm going to roll. Okay, so if you get this wrong, no worries. You can just if the pattern doesn't come, well, you may not even use this for your design. So just use whatever you want to use for your design. I'm using this, and I'm going to take these off, and I'm going to press it down a little bit more because I want a really nice defined pattern. And when I did the first one, the clay didn't get in there well in the center. So I just did that. So now I'm going to lift it. And you see how I got that pattern there? I might have done a little too well. Okay, well anyway, I'm going to be working with it. Okay, so I'm using the resin that I used for those sandals because it fits my doll well. If you see my doll's foot, she fits almost perfect in here. Now if you have a American Girl, her foot is wider and it's a little shorter, so you're probably going to want to design your own base. Now as far as this clay sole, when you do these, you can use these just the way they are without even having to make them in resin. But I don't know how they would hold up for play. If your daughter or granddaughter's rough on it, I don't know how well they would hold up. I mean, but if she's just going to, be on a shelf somewhere, you could easily make any kind of clay sole or shoe for your doll, and just do it out of clay and not even bother with the resin. This is the gold. Okay, so that is that. So now I'm going to, before I cut this out, I'm going to lift this off of the table just so that it's not down so tight when I go to lift up the actual shoe piece. So I'm trying to now if I was probably what I should do is probably redo this and not get all these little things in here, but by the time I flatten it out and work with it, it's going to be okay. So I'm just going to do it with this. Okay, so now I'm going to cut. I cut this way on the last shoe. This time I'm going to cut this way. So I'm going to set this down, and I'm going to see if I can find the best side. I think this is the best side. So I'm going to put that down, and this time I'm going to be very careful how I cut. I'm not going to be sloppy like I did before. Okay, see, I'm already wrong. That's how I did this one. So I got to take this up and turn it around and cut this way, because I'm dealing with the bottom, not the top. So do you see what I just did? I almost made a mistake and made two right shoes. Okay, so now I'm going to cut around this with my blade. I'm using, if you don't have a resin base, which you probably won't, unless you made one from the other video. Just use thick, it's not cardboard, but try and save the lid of like a coffee can or something that's thick enough so that when you cut around it you get a nice cut, but you don't cut whatever it is you're using for a pattern. Like paper, you'd probably cut right into the paper. Okay, now, so, you know, you're going to see little edges here that you don't have to worry about, because you're going to cover that again with another layer. So you don't have to be really neat about that. But you want to be neat enough so that when you do, I probably got my hand in the way, that when you do put that edging on, that it's nice and smooth. So just smooth those down. And once we get the edging on, when you see that, you'll have plenty of time to smooth that out. Okay, so let's see if we can lift this up without damaging the shoe shape at all. But like I said, even after I baked this and shaped it with the edging on it, it did get a little bit of warping in it. So you're going to have the same thing. But you know, you can always smooth these edges down. You can take any of your tools and smooth them down. But you know, we'll worry about that, because you're not going to see this anyway. This is on the inside of the shoe. But if you know you really want to be particular and make things look nice inside and out, you want it to, you know, depends on how picky you are. Okay, so anyway, that's basically the shoe. If you have a pointy tool like this one is a hole puncher, and you see places where you can actually go in and fix it if you don't like it, you know, you can spend hours on you know, making these. That's what they make all those clay dolls out of. Those, they're just beautiful. I mean, you can be a real artist and just do amazing things with this clay. Okay, anyway, that's the base. Okay, let me check the camera and see what time I'm at. Okay, I got 12 more minutes. Okay, so I'm going to probably stop right there for this one, and then when I come back, I'm going to recondition this clay, and I'm going to show you how I got the edging on this to go on this shoe. Okay, so that was step one, making the actual sole using any kind of design pattern you want for the texture of it. Okay, I'll be back for the next section.